Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would get busy on this base here again and get some more work done to it. I did a little bit off screen, and that is kind of textured up this side of it a little bit. At least first run. I haven't added decals or really figured out the base on how I want this to sit up off the ground a little bit more. I don't like what's there yet, so I'll keep on working on that. But anyway, let's get back into the interior. So last video it was left off right over here, getting this wall kind of arranged and textured and some things like that. And I got another chunk of the base to do over here, which actually looks kind of fun here. So a couple questions that were asked too. One question was asked, why do I not run the cargo extensions across the floor? And basically the answer is texturing. With the humans, or the faction that I'm kind of setting this up to be, you don't have access to a lot of these textures. Like this texture I'm looking at right here, this one right over here, and I think there's another one in here. Oh yeah, these kind of light textures in here, where there's a texture light right in the middle of where that line is going. So those three textures I don't get access to if I use cargo extensions there. I'm going to have that problem over by the furnaces right now as well. So what I'm thinking about doing here is changing this layout a little bit with the extensions, so I could texture this a little bit different on the floor again. But that's essentially why I do it. Now, if I didn't have the room to do this, I would have still used the floor for cargo extensions. But I did have the room, and like all this area back here is just full of cargo extensions back over there, and same thing kind of going on over here. But what I want to do is move a lot of these away from where they are now, and I'm actually kind of looking like they could go above because there's really nothing going on up there. So let's take away 6 here, and we'll add another 6 back to this. Just gotta put let's see, we have 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's put those there. And then we got, it looks like 9 down over here. And let's add 3 of those right under the shield. Keep that all the same, or actually 4. So we got 4 there. We need 5 more up top. I'm kind of leaving this this row here blank right now, just to see if that would become anything. So that actually comes out pretty good. So let's make sure we didn't screw up these controllers somehow. Okay, they look good. All right, and then I can just kind of fill this back in over here for now. And now this can be textured the same if I really wanted it to be the same. But honestly, now that I think about it, maybe it should have a little variation over here. So, all right, well, let's get some block work done around the furnaces and try to get this area dialed in better. So the furnaces, you don't want to let a player walk right up to the furnace. Usually 1 block away you can access the furnace and not get heat and rads or anything. Maybe it's just heat on this one. Yeah, I think it's just heat. But you won't get that like 250 degrees Celsius. So we want to come up with kind of a neat looking, I don't know, display, I guess you could say, for this, that also doesn't let the player just walk right up to the furnace. So we could use, there's a lot of ways to stop a person from doing that, but trying to think on what blocks might look neat. I'm going to experiment with roundy blocks again, just for the heck of it. I'm not sure if this is a good idea here, or if I'll like it, but sometimes it's fun just trying to see what happens. You may or may not like it. Kind of wondering if we had a display like that. Maybe I'll just do 1 here, and could be copied, I guess. So we've got that. You know what, though? I kind of want to change something here. Let's have these maybe changed to this block. Be kind of a weird oval-like circle pattern. And then we could put a little, like a fence thing there, maybe. That could be kind of neat, maybe. Come up around like that. I don't know. Or does that look a little too You know, everything else is pretty square on the interior, though, or angled. It's not really round like that. I don't know if I like this shape. Let's try something else. Could go like this block in here. So many different combinations of blocks you could do to make an interesting shape here. That's all that's really I'm trying to do here is just make kind of a different shape. Let's grab another part here. Let's look for some railings. And we could, let's see what would go with this. Could do something like that. I still don't know if I like this or not. Let's get rid of these blocks. Try, gosh, should I just go back to the first block that was there? Decisions. There's a lot of this going on. I mean, that's a great thing about building. You got a lot of options. Like, there's so many different ways this facing could be done. You could play with different variations. Like, okay, so we got one variation there. Let's just hypothetically build something a little different on this side and see which one I think looks better. So let's see here. I kind of want to keep the sides free though, so maybe that's not a good block. Is there anything we can do with angles here? That's another question. I don't think very nicely. You could do an angle like that. Oops. And then maybe come down this way. But then we'd have to put, we still got to put like a barrier here so you don't, run into the furnace. But that doesn't really allow for this to fit very well out front. I don't know. Out of the two schemes here, I think I kind of wouldn't mind trying this one out. So how can we texture this to make it look kind of neat? Let's try to do something different. How about a color on the inside here? Something like that. Let's refine some of these. Maybe a couple of those. Maybe like something like that across the top. Then we could do the walls in more of a white. Get rid of some of the jaggy lines here. Put a texture light right above there. And, something else that could be done over here. We could add a different tone. How about on the bottom, we go with a gray. And then maybe we can try to keep that kind of uniform across part of this, at least. I didn't texture that because I'll probably get rid of it there. Let's see. Maybe this should also be that. Well, I like to have things fit across these creases. And there's only some textures, only a few textures that really allow for that very nicely, at least. But maybe that should just be. I don't know why it looks like a different tone, but it's just a lighting effect there. Alright, and then I'm not worried about painting that. Let's paint the back side of this up real quick. I'm just going to black this out, I think. It's just one of those areas you're really not going to see. I'll still put something fun up there. Alright, so we got this little piece here. Let's do a quick copy. Okay. I don't know. We'll see. If it doesn't stick, basically, I keep looking at it and like I don't know if I like that. I'll just redo it. It's a very small little thing there for sure. All right, so up here for now, we're gonna have some LCDs again above here. And this is a cargo extension too, so that makes it a little bit harder to texture. You know what? These should be dark though, I think. Yeah, maybe strips, maybe paint that dark as well. We'll three-tone this one. See how that comes out. Get rid of that. Alright, so up above here, definitely need to add some kind of something that is neat here. Now I'm trying to not disrupt the hangar floor too much, but I certainly would like to get something across the top here. What could work? Let's try a two-phase thing. We got some round already going on here with the furnaces, so let's see if we can add a little bit more of that. Maybe, nah, you know what? Let's just make it all one thing, starting here on both sides, and then we can, let's use a combination of different blocks here. How about some of these? Well, this is kind of a neat block because you can add some interesting texture lights with it if you do it right. Like there's one side that incaves a little bit on it, and right now that's on the inside, which might work. So let's do that. Oops, and we'll reverse it here, and reverse it here. And then when we put in just a straight up half block here, that, what we can do is get this little sliver texture light on the inside here. And let's see, I'm not sure what, might have to just go with straight up like white lights, or should this be maybe a red light? I could do something like that, and then you get this just small thin texture light kind of in there, even if we use that one, but I don't know if that's the perfect texture for that or not. Maybe. Let's see what happens. Okay, and the row up here, let's go dark on this row. So, right above here, what if we put in like a couple of those? And not a whole lot you can do with this. Could try to put some lines on it, but that usually doesn't make a lot of sense. Or maybe do something really different like that. Across there. Or does that look too much like Scar? I don't know. Scar uses that texture a lot too. The Scar faction texturing. Just paint the top up here a second. There's some jiggies. And try to add in a little something here, maybe one of those. Let's get, paint this with something too. Okay, we'll have to, I'll remove the furnaces at some point and paint back in there and around it and everything. Okay, so a little bit of a display. Let's do an experiment. Let's try to do a red line that goes across the front here, or like something like that. See how this comes out. Got a little bit of a problem right in the corner though, not sure why that is. I think these shouldn't be concrete there, instead should be just that. Okay, and right below, let's try to put in a different texture here, right below the cargo controllers. Just accent them a little bit. Not sure what to do with that. We could go with a different color entirely too. Okay, so then on the front here, let's do some kind of a medium gray. Across this strip, and let's go dark here. Yeah, I know I got rid of all those extensions and I painted with smooth metal anyway, so could have probably left them where they were in this case. if I stay with this or not. Just getting rid of jiggies. So when you do this, you'll find that you'll still get some lines, because I usually leave the straight ones, so then it kind of smooths it off. In my opinion, it makes it look a little more like there's plates there rather than lines cut into the surface for no apparent reason. It's so it kind of dials that in a little bit when doing this here. I don't know if I like this this little part here though. Maybe whatever is going on here should be the same color yet. Maybe more of these. I know I overuse this texture a huge amount of times, but it's just there's not many like it that work well for most things. Again, once lighting's on there, I don't know if I like this top strip though. I think that's what's throwing me off. Maybe that's just a little too crude here. We could try color here as well, which could fit all right. And maybe even try to get a couple things over on the sides there like that. Yeah, I kind of like that better. And we left it dark on the top and bottom. Alright, that part should be okay. So let's kind of move on to this shield now. Shield needs a housing display, something to go over the front of it. I think we can put in a full mess of blocks right in front here too. And then of course access to it so you can get in there and place the shield when you want to. Yeah, alright. So let's change the formation and pattern on this side. Let's try, we can have this so we can walk into it. I'm not so worried about the shield. You're not really going to fry from the shield. At least this shield piece. And maybe do something like that. Maybe go around the top. Kind of a basic, basic formation here. We could also add some front blocks over this, except for where I want to put LCDs. And you know what? In here, I don't know if I like that. Let's try a different method. Let's not do half blocks. Let's try thin blocks instead. Maybe get like a borderline across here. That look alright? That's kind of weird too. Well, maybe if this was the same shape as the top. I guess you still could walk in there to place the shield, but you don't really need to walk in here to place the shield either, so technically that could be like that. And let's do some other piece of thin blocks or something over and around this to give it a little bit more detail. And something like that might happen over there too. Here's one idea. What if we, well, you know what? How would that look if that was inverted? Probably dumb. Yeah. Some of those in, and I guess just this straight up thin one here on the side. And maybe on the top though we could do something a little different. What if we put a bar heading down like that too? Is that a little too much? Again, you still, I believe, if I was walking up to this, I don't know, that could be challenging to place the shield if I was just walking in like that. Well, maybe if that wasn't there and just did something like that instead. Yeah, we'll see. It's a little interesting, a little different there. kind of a two-layer block structure, which I do like to do. I mean, there's that gives you huge more possibilities on what you can do. Of course, it costs more blocks, but this is some pretty cheap stuff here. Bunch of carbon. At least you can texture it all right. Spray up a bunch of these. Leaving some vacant right now. We'll try to go with an alternative texture in some of these areas. Okay, so we got this inside line here. Well, this looks stupid if it was actually a different color. Probably, because that doesn't line up with that. Okay. Yeah, I just talking to myself here. You know how it is. Or maybe not. Probably not. Maybe some of that there in the middle. Again, a lot of times, you know, I'll do something. You just got to like start doing something, in my opinion, building, and you may not even know what to do, but then you just kind of sit back and look at it and try to tweak it some more until you get it to a point where you're all right with it. That's kind of what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to make this, I don't know, kind of neat to look at. We'll see how it works out, though. Different variations here. What if we just put a random red down there? Could be very unusual. Okay, so the block's on the inside here. Let's try to match that color stripe on the other part there. Across here. Maybe something like that. Oh wait, no, we did color on the inside here. Nah. I don't think I should do that. Okay, let's just try it. Let's go to a different shade entirely here. And we had red on the inside on the other pieces, so maybe this should probably be uniform to that in these locations. See how these parts are working here. Not too bad. Maybe another one of those in there. And let's get some, a couple lights in here. And then let's see, we went with gray on the bottom. There, this row would be white, but it doesn't really exist. That row is actually red. Again, I'm not sure if I like this formation or not. Might just hit the drawing boards again with it, come up with something else to go there. Oh, darn it. That's a cargo extension. Could do that there. And this will be all blacked out kind of on the inside. I'm thinking that should be black right here too. Yeah, I don't know if I like that. So maybe this should be red here. And then maybe, I don't know. It's something to do with this side thing I got going on here. I guess I don't like that center strip here. Maybe that's the deal. Let's get rid of it. Let's try to use this block so we can create a weird texture light right on the top side in that location. Little small one. Kind of like what was right over there. Like that, and then this would be our white. Try something like that. Or Okay, so yeah, still don't like it. Still don't like it. Maybe it's this thing here. Maybe I overdid that other texture there in the middle. All right. Well, let's clean up on the inside here. Again, it's going to look a lot different with lighting, but it would be nice if it didn't have to depend on lighting to try to look neat. Okay. Now, something else in comments was brought up too, that like I'm not doing something right with the building, and I should be changing my block designs differently, and I don't understand. I read the comment and I'm like, I don't know what you mean. Um, like I know there's people that have told me before, and it doesn't work for me. That say I take a stack of carbon and I put it across different rows and I leave certain blocks, certain shapes. Um, it just never works out. I use way too many shapes. I can't fit all the shapes that I typically use, even building a small area that way. So I was really confused. I didn't really know what if there's some other way to make things go faster. I'm all ears, trust me. But I don't know what was explained. It was like holding down control and I can like change the the block shape is what I was interpreting, but I don't know if that I even got any of that right. So yeah, whoever commented on that, I'm just kind of curious what you meant by that, because I'm a little confused. If there is a faster way, I mean that would be really cool to know. Like originally, I used the two different tools, the texture tool and the color tool. And when they first came up with this tool that does both, I was really kind of against it until I started forcing myself to use it. And then I was like, oh, well, for how I typically texture, it really is a good time saver for sure. Um, so it could be a case. I mean, there could be some other trick that I just do not know about, and that could be kind of interesting too. So I thought I'd just throw that out there. Yeah, I do like to read all the different comments and things. You can get some pretty good information uh, often. So I'm just kind of blacking this area out again on the inside. We'll have to get a ceiling on here as well. Okay, that's pretty much solid flat, and we can't do a whole heck of a lot with the back because we're concrete again. Um, yeah. Again, it's just trying to be darker in there. Okay, so let's might as well just throw in some decals while we're going along here for a shield. And that, I'm not going to be able to keep that texture there because it's got a problem. Well, I don't know. Sometimes you can't see decals over this texture at certain light angles, but in this case it looks like it is actually working okay. See if we can get some other form of detail back here. Maybe a vent or something. Maybe in the middle. How about a few? Oh yeah, we can actually put in one of those there, but not here. La la la. Well, I guess not. Alright, maybe, can we do those? Okay. Alright, so moving along to the next area, sort of. I don't know if I like all this, though. You know what? This orange here is out of place. One sec, gotta fix that. Let's change that to white. Is that how it should be? That's a white row. Maybe just... Yeah, I don't know if I like that formation. Again, just trying to make like a kind of like a mall display, I guess, or like you're looking at some shopping thing and all your parts go in here. Probably should do the same thing with these furnaces, but I can do that off screen. Obviously, that there's nothing really fancy about that stuff. Okay, so the medical bay. This is an area I want to try to get right or make look really neat if I can. Medical slash your armor stuff, and probably a utility refrigerator down here would be nice. Was brought up maybe on something else. God, what was it? To not have the ATM over here, and maybe a second ammo box or whatnot. Oh, and also Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is just, yeah, you know what? Let's address Wi-Fi before I forget again. I forget Wi-Fi pretty easily. I don't know what it is with Wi-Fi. It's like, so on this base, what I was thinking about doing with Wi-Fi, if things can fit in here, it would be nice to have one or two probably in the base, like maybe one along this side and one along this side, just to kind of expand that Wi-Fi range around the base a little bit. So ultimately speaking, I think the Wi-Fi would look best in some of these locations here. And it's unusual because there is a solid, like a double layer over here. Let's see what happens if, oh yeah, so we could technically remove a block and dig right in and put the Wi-Fi so you can kind of see it right on the outside. And I think that'll work the same on the other side of the base as well. I don't think that would really screw with anybody landing. It's not like sticking up or anything like that. So yeah, let's try this, see what happens. Get some kind of textures back here. How about a vent and I guess maybe, oops. Let's keep that dark though. And oh, we can texture this with something else. Oh, that's the hangar door. Okay. No, we can't. Let's go with our base color for now for that. Can't paint the bottom, can't paint the top. Let's try to go with a dark shade here for now. So there's one Wi-Fi. And I should be able to do the same here. I think so. And that. And a couple of those. And can't paint that. Alright, so we have some Wi-Fi. Make sure I don't cause any air breaches by that. I don't think I would. Okay. That's in place. So, alright, back to this. Excuse me, sorry about that. So what I'm thinking about doing is try to do some kind of display panel that goes up and around this whole area here. Would be kind of neat. Just at least see how it turns out. Maybe I'll embrace some more curves again. Oh, is that going to work though? Oh, what about a door? Ah, hold on. Let's try this anyway. Let's put one of those there, and we're going to need a door on this side going into the engineering area. And maybe if I do put it in a fridge, it'll be over there. It'll have fridges upstairs though too, where the farm is. So let's do that, and how about we try to curve this around the whole top side here. Oh, I can't right there because that's sticking out. Don't like that. Is there another way this could be done here? Could I stretch it out and push? Not really. Let's get rid of these two blocks and try something. That's what was there. And if I went this route, then it would basically be showing the current oxygen tank back there in the background, but that doesn't really help me put these parts in better. Alright, so here, let's undo that. one other option would be kind of weird, but could be in a formation. I wouldn't like that either. I was thinking you could use like these and angle that in on both sides, but then you got this lull in the middle. But yeah, that part right there is just not displayed how I want it to be displayed. So okay, let's do a little bit more surgery here. I'm gonna get rid of that for now too. Let's get these parts out of here. Put in a full wall here, and then realign these pieces to not stick out like they were, since there's more room now. Or, you know, they can stick out. It's just it would take place on the bottom. Yeah, that would be out of the way. Yeah, I think that would work. Let's try it. Alright, so that and that. These pieces actually could move then too and go right over these other ones because they are a little smaller. Okay, so now I got all those in place. You could put this line back in. Now we did push everything kind of close to where the armor repair and repair bay are. Again, those could move though, and maybe let's just get that out of there, and we'll plan on putting that over here along with a fridge instead. Let's reduce the whole length of this by 1. Put and have this come down here instead. You know what would be kind of neat too is let's replace the bottom block with these kinds of things. Give it a little angly thing going on there too. Like that. And we'll fill you in. We actually even have more room now. Holy smokes. Is there any other piece that could be put into here that would be beneficial for that? Yeah, look at all that room there. Don't know if I would want to put an ATM here. Could, you know what? Let's just take this one more row back since it doesn't really need to be that big anymore. Oh, but then it's gonna, oh, then that sticks out again. Can't do that. That's why it was done in the first place. Alright, let's undo that. I just feel like there should be something right there. What other part could go there? I mean, it could have like an ATM or something there. I suppose it just doesn't fit with anything else here. Or actually, this should just be blocks, shouldn't it? Yeah, to make that work on the back side, this would have to be a full block or something like that. Let's try this piece that can match the angle on the front side. And then we could put in just a straight up thin block here. Like that. And we can't put blocks across the top there. Maybe some other block formation here too. But not that. Does that work on the top side? Kind of unusual. So on the toilet, yeah, the good old toilet. Can't really put a door over both of these pieces because that's coming down over the edge of the shower, but could put a little door in front of that. Okay, so going with the same kind of theme here. Let's try to paint this canopy piece here. Say we went with, God, that's too much red, isn't it? I wanted to have like dashes of red in here, but not like go overboard with it either. But let's see what happens. front line. Should I go white or dark? Let's try dark. Oh, but it's a med bay. Now let's go light with it. And can we get some kind of light action going on this piece? Maybe like that. And those. That actually kind of works out pretty good. And maybe a couple more texture lights here. But those ought to be there instead. That. And okay, so on the inside, medical bay, let's just try to keep it bright and cheery. Well, let's still got to do a tone difference just because. So ultimately, too, there'll be an LCD here somewhere kind of centered up in this area, probably saying medical bay, just again for decorative purposes only. It's like everybody would know by looking at it. That's what it is, but it's just one of those things. Okay, so the background wall. I don't know if I should have that clean or maybe try to get some kind of textures, at least in some of these areas, to try to back up the equipment that's up there. And maybe something different on the bottom side. How about a couple of those behind there? And see what happens if we did this back here. A couple of those textures, so get a little light around those pieces. And I guess we'll just let's do an off tone, a little bit different shade of gray on that side. Fix up that. Or should this, I wonder, should this be red? Going across like that. You know what I don't like? Oh, you know what? Look what happens if I do red there, then that bleeds through to the wall. And I can't stop that from happening. So that's probably a bad idea. Let's get rid of that. We got to keep that the same color going across here. Which that should be the white row. Okay, so I'm kind of like one off anyway. So let's just keep that white. And then this bottom side is supposed to be the gray. Kind of is, except for the outer pieces here. Oh. Yeah. Let's just let's go back to white and gray with this. Again, medical bay. And the inside already was white. Okay, then we got this last little chunk of stuff up here. I don't know if I should try to black that out or not, or maybe do something like that up there. I don't like how this is gray right here. We actually have this whole row up here too that stuff could be put there, which is kind of neat. So another aspect, probably the last thing I'll try to do on this video, is the ceiling here. Obviously it was kind of a copy-paste design, and it was kind of set up even on both sides. But on this side over here, the whole base is different. So this curving in like it is right now isn't really the hot ticket. Now it looks, oh, well, you know what? And I'm also missing like a strip of textures on this piece here, it looks like. Let's try to identify what that was. Is it that shade? No. Okay. Must have been the brighter one. So that should be all like that too. Did I miss any more on here? The one like that on the other side. Doesn't look like it. Okay, so we go, oh yeah, there is. And we're missing lines too. Let's get those in. There and here. Okay. All right, so what I was getting at on this part is all this is designed right now to kind of curve back in like there's a wall here, like there is on the other side, but there's not actually a wall here. So, think about changing how this is laid out over here, one way or another, and have it come down more at a different angle here. So, let's just try a section of it and see how this turns out. And the idea is to get this line down to meet up over here, one way or another. Could actually have some things in there, but and that could rest on the top side here. Something like that. Maybe that'll just take place on part of it, and maybe the other part can be a little bit different again. That mix-up is always fun. Change it around like that. So here, this is kind of like a separate 2-wide beam. Let's keep that beam flowing, so we'll drop this one down 1 block below where it was on this row. And we can have that kind of come into like there. And then let's do that pattern. Let's get rid of that. Put the same thing going on here. So we had different formation. So that changes the ceiling around quite a bit there too, which is fine. Just gives it a different look because it's different on this side. One last thing here. I don't even know if you're going to see this strip here, but I noticed that it's all red over there, and it just would make sense that probably would be doing the same thing there. Alright. Well, anyway, that's probably a good stopping point. Got in, I'll finish up texturing the inside here and basically blacking out and putting in labels for furnaces over there, kind of like the shield was done. And then we sort of got a front display for the medical bay now. I don't think I'm missing any important pieces here. Even putting a toilet, a lot of times I don't put a toilet in to the section. And then over here, there's going to be a door going back here to however this gets laid out back in the engineering room. And then on this side here would be a fridge, maybe an ATM. I know there's an ATM over there now that could move. A fridge, ATM, armor repair, armor locker. And then one other thing I want to do is find a location, maybe on one of these walls over here, like this wall, for a repair bay in case you put a repair or a repair console, in case you put a repair bay in the hangar. Now I'm also going to set up an area, obviously right here, for the repair bay. I think most players may want to use it up here. It depends on what you're repairing though. If you're repairing HVs and SVs and stuff, you'd probably want it down in the hangar. If you're repairing a CV, you definitely want it on the top. So you can move it around, I guess, and do what you got to do with it. Again, I really wish you could have two in there, but if it's going to charge you an insane amount of resources to do that, then that would be kind of pointless as well. But other than that, yeah, it's coming along. We're gonna have to get the lighting on the other side here as well. Um, and I'll have to evaluate if I like this block work. I could again change the facing on a couple of these things. Try to find something that looks a little bit neater, but it'll look a whole lot different with lights on it too. And after all these baseline lights, like I put in these lights on the last video, and they're pretty much all set to the same settings. There's a couple different types of lights, but a lot of that will be tweaked out. I usually get to that once I get this base built up. Some of these lights I might just individually adjust their values just to cause a little chaos in the lighting. Like all these blue lights would be set to what you see here right now. Like they're all going to be this spotlight angle, that range, this intensity. What I'll do often on different builds is I'll mess with them. Like I might have copied this light to start with, but maybe I'll change the angle ever so slightly or change the range or something just to cause a little bit of fluctuation in the lighting. And the point of doing that is to make it look not as uniform, which has a way of making it look more realistic. Which, if the lights are just so on point, I don't know. It's like you're missing out on some like fluctuations in the lighting, like some certain shadows, or maybe this side of the room is a little bit brighter than the other side of the room, or something like that, which you'll see often in real life. And it's just kind of a fake way to mess with the lighting in like this game world environment where you got limited options to kind of make it look like it's a little more like ray trace, but it's not, but that kind of thing. But anyway, yeah, this is well on its way. So the very last thing here, and I forgot to mention it at the first part here, I wanted to talk about this ship a little bit here. I've got some problems right now with this ship, and I'm seeking help. Well, I've got two avenues. Let me explain the problem. The problem is, plain and simply, it doesn't have enough room inside the ship to fit all the parts I wanted to fit in here. And I wanted this to be, we'll just say, in the higher size sealed class. What I mean by that is running a fusion reactor as well as at least a couple large shield parts in conjunction with some mediums and small shield parts to make a big shield in it. The big problem I've got is this funky design in here and these really large parts that I've got. I'm having really hard times fitting them in here. So essentially speaking, let me show you what I did get done on this. I started working on here. This would be kind of your rear bridge area, or well, kind of AKA secure bridge, but it's not super secure. So I started working on this, didn't do the floor or anything like that. And then I was trying to figure out the pathing. So I put in some elevators on the side here. There's like a little room over here that could probably put a core and some, you can see a couple large shield pieces there. And a fusion reactor right there. But then it also has to come down here, connect to the entry bays from the bottom of the ship. And there's two of them. There's one on the front and rear right now. I started doing a little bit of block work there. Don't mind this stuff up here. But the radius of the fusion reactor is crazy, and it'll fry you if you're anywhere on this black line or anywhere around it. And I literally cannot find any solution to get you from that top bridge area down here through what was supposed to be a bit of a just a little bit of a crafting area where your ammo and your storage controllers are. Connect over to here and get to the front of the ship and the bottom of the ship. Literally what happens is any way you try to go through here, you get fried by something, whether it be the fusion reactor, this big thruster right in the wall. Obviously you can see this pathway wouldn't work. Get my temperature spike up to 977 degrees Celsius right here, which I can't have that. So there's problems. And I also wanted to get a third large shield part in, and that's why I've got the hole carved out over here, and it can fit that other that third large shield part. And I've got 6 medium shield parts in here. I haven't put any small ones in yet, but I've also, the ship currently doesn't have a warp drive or the main shield in it, or a gravity generator either, or more fuel tanks and stuff. So it's got a lot of problems. I just can't fit everything in here. Um, and the stuff that I did fit in here is very problematic because I have so little space, and I got thrusters protruding in here and there and everywhere, that I'm cramming explodey parts next to other explodey parts, which is a really bad thing to do, especially on a combat ship. Like, if your rear thruster here gets popped, it'll blow up the generators, which will probably blow up this thruster, and then work right on into the large shield areas. The fusion reactor is set forward more and by itself, but um, it's a nightmare. So I've got two options with this creation. One, I either kind of abandon the idea of having it going up to the fusion reactor and large shield parts, and just stick with medium and small, and maybe give it another location to add another advanced generator in the ship, which could be done. Everything I think would work and fit if I was going with that. Or option number two, a little bit more extensive. I would have to kind of, in places, stretch out and rebuild the hull and try to fit in some of these big parts, make a little bit more room inside. So maybe I could take these large shield parts and separate them a little bit more. But I would have to do a lot of hull modifications to accomplish that, and that is, I don't know. I don't know if I want to or not. The idea of the ship was to be, have that heavier shield. But when I sit back and look at it, if you really take the usable interior space of the ship, it's really pretty much, if you follow the my cursor here, it is really pretty much just around this section, and it's even kind of funky at that. Which well, basically what I'm getting at, it has about the same interior space as a starter CV. But like, it would be kind of like me trying to fit a fusion reactor and a couple large shield parts in, say, the Wayfarer. It just wouldn't work out very well, because it's not big enough, and that's kind of what this ship has a problem with. It doesn't have enough good usable space to fit those big parts right now. So yeah, I'm kind of looking at two ideas. So I wanted to ask your question: would you rather see it have the original intent of the big shield parts in, and modify the hull in places, try to fit that stuff in, or scrap that idea, keep the hull how it is, and just don't go to the fusion reactor and large shield parts, but instead try to maximize the medium and small shield parts and make sure it's got enough generator support inside it to deal with everything that it would need to deal with. But keep in mind, I also got a slam in the main shield and a warp drive, also some big pieces in here. So yeah, there's a lot of playing around. Obviously, the ship is really not going to have like any kind of fluff interior. I mean, I'm fighting for space, and I'm running out of it. And what really troubles me too is I'm wasting room in a lot of places. Like, this whole block row I'm at right now is unused for anything, but nothing. All these big parts just will not fit in this weird hull shape. So I had to, like, you got these big chunks. I got to put the big parts where I've got the room to fit them, and there's very little places they can fit too, and that's just another issue. There is some room up over here right now. Again, this was supposed to be for a third large shield part. I figured that would be a nice balance, because then you could run a single charger and two banks on your big shield category, which would really give you a pretty massive shield. I also started putting a lot of xenoblocks across the front of it, and started working on it just a little bit on how this first-person pilot area would be. I don't know if it's finalized with the pipes the way they are and stuff like that, but I just was trying to get the layout down, and I did a little bit of interior stuff just to try to be neat. When the lights are adjusted, this should look kind of neat and weird Kriel-like alien stuff when it's done. But then I still got to do more hull tweaks and stuff like that too. So just curious on your opinion on that. One last opinion thing: right now this base has 8 320K storage bays in it, and a single 14K ammo box. Do you think it ought to have more storage than what it does? It could. Literally, like, especially up here, there's a lot of room. I could add, 2, 3 more, maybe even 4 additional storage controllers in the area. And I don't know if I should. The reason why I was trying to limit this to 8 is I didn't want this thing to be super pricey when you're spawning it, and also I wanted to keep it semi pretty compatible with vanilla. So vanilla charges a lot more CPU for storage than what Reforged Eden does. So if I really go crazy with adding a lot more storage to the base, again, probably could get another 4 320s in here. It's just going to make it cost more and more and more all the time. So anyway, I'm just kind of curious on your thoughts on those two things. And other than that, I think that's it for today's video. And you all have yourself a great afternoon. I will talk to you later.